"Why didn't Mrs. come to work today?" the assistant hurriedly reported. "After you promoted your mistress to deputy general manager, she fired Mrs. at once." The president's husband was struck by lightning upon hearing this. "Why didn't Mrs. come to work today?" the assistant hurriedly reported. "After you promoted Ms. Lin Wei to deputy general manager, she immediately fired Mrs." The president's husband was struck by lightning upon hearing this. In order to reward Ms. Lin Wei for her outstanding contributions to Qin Group's overseas markets over the past year, I announce that effective today Lin Wei is officially promoted to the group's vice president. Qin Yuchuan stood under the spotlight, his voice clear and firm, exuding undeniable authority, and the audience erupted in applause. I sat in the front row of the family seats, gripping the custom cufflinks prepared to be given to him at the 10th anniversary celebration. My name is Shen Xinghe, the Chief Financial Officer of Qin Group and the wife of Qin Yuchuan. For 7 years, Lin Wei wore a bright red formal dress, striding onto the stage with a flamboyant posture, and when receiving the appointment letter, her fingertips intentionally brushed across Qin Yuchuan's palm in a suggestive manner. Qin Yuchuan's eyes flickered, yet he did not shirk. I quietly watched this scene, memories flooding back over the years I have stood by him, from a shabby startup workshop to the current skyscraper, those late nights working overtime, the moments when I drank to the point of stomach bleeding chasing funding, all still vivid. And Lin Wei, this returnee elite who only returned to the headquarters half a year ago, had become, in his words, an indispensable capable general. Before the ceremony ended, Lin Wei walked straight toward me. She did not, as usual, hypocritically call me Ms. Shen, but in front of several executives pulled out a piece of paper stamped with a seal and placed it in front of me. "Director Shen." "Oh no, now you should be called Ms. Shen." Lin Wei smiled brilliantly, eyes filled with provocation. "Mr. Qin has just authorized me to handle all HR optimizations. Given your position and the company's future strategy, this is your termination notice. Please complete the handover within 1 hour." The surrounding conversations ceased instantly, and the usually polite executives lowered their heads and avoided speaking. I looked at that notice, the seal not yet dry, the pungent smell of ink hitting my nose. It was the Qin seal I personally had engraved back then. "Does Qin Yuchuan know?" I looked up at the man on stage. He was toasting with a partner, his back to me, his spine straight. "Ms. Shen, this is Mr. Qin's intention." Lin Wei bent down and whispered in my ear. "He says you have stayed too long as the chief financial officer. Your accounts are too strict, hindering his business. Now the company needs to transform and doesn't need a wife who only audits accounts. It needs a vice president who can charge with him." The hand gripping the cufflink box grew tighter, the metal edge pricking my palm. After so many years in this circle, I knew too well that a man's heart can tilt. Tears and anger would only become his means to mock me. I stood up, straightened the professionally tailored outfit prepared for the celebration, which now seemed somewhat ridiculous. "Fine, I'll sign." I pulled out a pen, the nib skimmed across the paper, a shushing sound. Lin Wei obviously hadn't expected my decisiveness. A trace of astonishment flashed in her eyes, quickly replaced by smugness. "Shen Xinghe, you are indeed clever, but to prevent financial data leaks, your computer and office locks have already been changed. You only need to take your personal belongings." I sneered coldly. He doesn't understand at all. The core financial logic of Qin Group has always been stored in my brain. I walked toward the stairs, and when I passed Qin Yuchuan, he finally turned his head to look at me. In his eyes there was a moment of panic, but it vanished quickly. "Xinghe, about Lin Wei, I'll explain it when we get home. He's just started in his position. His actions are a bit rash. You endure some injustice for now." He lowered his voice, trying to soothe me with the gentleness of the past. I paused, then hurled the cufflink box straight into the nearby trash can. The crisp sound of it clanking made his face turn slightly pale. "Qin Yuchuan, no need to explain." Vice President Lin acted quickly. "I've already signed." I looked him straight in the eyes that used to be full of stars, now merely calculating and desirous. "But if this company leaves Lin Wei to transfer, if it leaves me, Shen Xinghe, I'm afraid you won't be able to move it." "Shen Xinghe, don't act on impulse. This is just a normal adjustment of authority." Qin Yuchuan frowned, his tone reproachful. As if I were an unreasonable child throwing a tantrum, I ignored him and turned toward the elevator. When the elevator doors closed slowly, I saw Lin Wei affectionately hold his arm, and he did not push her away. Back in the office, two security guards stood at the door. The lock had indeed changed. My private belongings, a family photo, a pot of nearly withered succulent, a set of spare teaware, were casually stuffed into a shabby cardboard box. I picked up the box and walked the corridor in front of the employees' complex gazes, some pity, some schadenfreude, and more people avoiding it. Leaving the Qin Corporation building, the evening breeze was cool. I took out my phone and dialed a long-lost number. Help me contact a headhunter, freeze all the supplier contracts under my name. Since they think the CFO is ornamental, I'll show them what cutting off the water source means. Back home, the villa was as quiet as an empty house. I didn't turn on the lights and directly went to the master bedroom on the second floor, where traces of Qin Yuchuan were everywhere: the necktie on the bed, shirts yet to be washed, the former fire and spark. Now they had become evidence of him parasitizing my life. I dragged 2 suitcases from the wardrobe and without hesitation mechanically filled them with clothes, skincare products, and documents, those expensive jewelry Qin Yuchuan gave me. I didn't touch a single piece. They all stayed in the jewelry box, tainted with the sour odor of this deteriorating marriage. At 2 a.m., the hallway's fingerprint lock clicked open. Qin Yuchuan, drunk, pushed the door open. Seeing the suitcases in the living room, his drunkenness instantly faded, his face turning grim. Shenxinghe, have you had enough of this? He untied his tie, irritably walking toward me. Isn't it just a job change? I've told Lin Wei to apologize to you tomorrow. You can keep the CFO position, not come to the office and still get paid. How about that? I closed the suitcase latch and looked at him calmly. Qin Yuchuan, you still haven't understood the situation. It's not that the company fired me, it's that I, Shenxinghe, won't work here anymore. I've signed the termination notice. From that moment, I'm no longer an employee of Qin's. You're acting on impulse. Qin Yuchuan's tone grew urgent. Qin's is something we built together. Are you really willing to give up? I looked at him, then suddenly smiled. What I'm willing to give up has never been Qin's, but the self who endured hardship with you and was discarded like trash by you. Qin Yuchuan, you'll regret this. After speaking, I dragged the suitcase toward the hallway and didn't look back. Behind me, Qin Yuchuan's furious shouting followed, and I knew my counterattack had just begun. He suddenly raised his voice, came over, and grabbed my shoulder. Lin Wei just returned to the country. She needs to establish authority. You as the wife don't support me, fine, but you also humiliate me at the ceremony. Do you not know how many people are laughing behind my back tonight because I can't control my wife? So you care more about face, I said, shaking off his hand forcefully, my gaze cold enough to make him retreat a step. To make Lin Wei move up, you allow her to humiliate me in front of everyone. Qin Yuchuan, these 7 years I've eaten street food with you, entertained clients until midnight, guarded the back and charged ahead with you. In the end, you think I'm just an ungovernable appendage. Qin Yuchuan faltered, then avoided my gaze, his tone softening. Xinghe, Lin Wei is only an assistant. She has overseas background and can help the company go public. You're too old-fashioned, always clinging to that strict audit process. It can't keep up with the current expansion. I promoted her to deputy general manager for the sake of the company. For the sake of the company or for your own selfish desire? I sneered. Putting someone who only excels at PPTs and public relations in the position of deputy general manager and letting her touch the core logic of finance. Qin Yuchuan, you will regret this. Regret? Lin Wei has already sworn an oath to me tonight. Within a month I will secure the financing for the next quarter, and you only tell me about this overrun, that violation. He seemed to have hit a sore point and became irritable again. I stopped arguing and dragged my suitcase toward the door. Stop, where are you going so late? He blocked the doorway. Qin Yuchuan, let's divorce. I will send the divorce agreement to your office. His pupils suddenly dilated, as if he had heard a fantasy. Divorce over such a small thing? Shenxinghe, once you leave Qin Group, you are nothing. Do you think companies outside will want a woman who is 30 and has been out of the front line for years? Then let's wait and see. I pushed him away and walked into the thick night without looking back. I didn't go to a hotel. I returned to the small apartment I secretly bought with my parents before the wedding. There, although only 50 square meters, it was completely my own territory. The first thing I did when I sat down was to open the computer. The reason Qin Group could run so smoothly was because I had built an extremely complex dynamic financial model. This model connected not only to banks and taxes but also penetrated into the credit scoring systems of every core supplier. In those days, for the so-called husband and wife as one, I was not only the financial director but also used my own personal credibility and the Shun family's resources to provide several key guarantees for Qin Group. I pulled up those guarantee contracts, my fingertips pausing on the withdrawal request key for a moment. Lin Wei, you didn't want to be Deputy General Manager. Qin Yuchuan, you don't think I'm Newsome? Then I'll dismantle the moat I've built for Qin Group, bit by bit with my own hands. At 4 in the morning, I received a message from Xiao Li in Qin Group's finance department, his voice trembling. President Shen, Deputy General Manager Lin forcibly entered your office tonight and brought people to clear the server cache, saying he would reorganize the accounts but the system is reporting errors. The prepayment processes for all suppliers are locked dead. I turned off my phone, leaned against the back of the sofa gazing at the pale light outside the window. The game has only just begun. 3 days after cutting off contact, the turmoil of Qin Group arrived as promised. In the morning, a rapid knock on the door woke me. I opened the surveillance, and at the door stood Laro Zhong, the chief legal counsel of Qin Group, along with several financial backbone who had worked with me for years. Their eyes were dark with exhaustion, clearly having pulled several all-nighters. Shen, please open the door, the company is a mess. Laro Zhong, through the security door, spoke with despair. I draped a silk robe over myself, brewed coffee slowly, and then opened the door leisurely. I didn't intend to let them in the house. I leaned against the door frame with a calm tone. Lawyer Zhong, I'm just an unemployed person who has been fired now. You should go to Deputy General Manager Lin about the company's affairs. Shen, Deputy General Manager Lin, he doesn't understand our financial closure at all. The finance department. Xiao Li almost cried. He wants to show efficiency to President Qin, forcibly changing the settlement cycle for core suppliers. This triggered the risk alert system you set up earlier. Now the entire company's cash flow is automatically locked. If we can't pay that 30 million yuan raw material balance this afternoon, the factory will shut down. I sipped the coffee, bitterness spreading on my tongue. This was the first gift I left for Lin Wei. He only saw my accounting as rigid, but he didn't know that that system was my last firewall to prevent Qin Yuchuan from blindly expanding. Without my dynamic password, forcefully modifying parameters would only be judged by the system as malicious attack, triggering a protective lock for up to 72 hours. And President Qin? I asked. President Qin unleashed in the office. Vice President Lin said you planted a virus in the system before you left and they're going to sue you. Old Zhong wiped his sweat, his voice shrinking. I sneered. Sue me? Sure, let them sue. That set of systems is my personal technical patent. Initially I only licensed it to the company for free. The contract is crystal clear. He doesn't know how to operate, causes errors, and now it's my crime. After speaking, I closed the door right in front of them. 2 o'clock in the afternoon. My phone screen flickered wildly with incoming calls from Qin Yuchuan. I didn't answer any of them. I just opened the computer and watched the market. Qin's group stock had begun to show small fluctuations. Evidently the market had heard rumors that the financing chain was tightening. At the same time, I called the old residents of the Shun family. Dad, I'm getting divorced. Also, bring back the 2 land indicators that Shun family previously lent to Qin for turnover, on the grounds that Qin unilaterally changed the core management team, triggering risk reassessment terms. On the other end, my father was silent for a long time, then said one line, if you're wronged, come back, the Shun family will always be your backing. After hanging up, I exhaled slowly. Lin Wei is currently crying in front of Qin Yuchuan, blaming all the responsibility on me. Liu Li and the others, and the man who swore to protect me for life is probably gnashing his teeth, thinking of how to drag me back, but he won't have a chance. Lin Wei, to prove she's stronger than me, hurriedly signed a so-called betting agreement. It was the resource he brought back when returning to the country, funding from an overseas investment consortium. He thought it was a lifeline, but little did he know it was the financial trap I had long seen through. That consortium has a complex background, with extremely harsh funding terms. If Qin's group cannot complete the business transformation within the specified time, the other party will bite off Qin's shares at a very low price. Previously, I held it down, so Qin Yuchuan didn't dare to sign. Now Lin Wei steps up to stabilize her position, and she will surely encourage Qin Yuchuan to go for a sharp turn. Sure enough, by evening a news push popped up. Qin's group announced a strategic cooperation with Overseas Prosperity Capital, with Vice President Lin Wei presiding over the signing ceremony. In the photo, Lin Wei smiles proudly, Qin Yuchuan standing by her side. Though his brows were slightly furrowed, he still signed his name. Looking at the two of them side by side on the screen, the last thread of attachment in my heart completely snapped. Qin Yuchuan, since you think I am a stumbling block on your path to success, I will help you, let you see how badly you will fall without this stone to support you. At that moment a WeChat message popped up with a photo. Li from the accounting department secretly snapped a shot Lin Wei in my old office, tossing my succulent directly into the trash bin beside the shredding machine, and ordered an assistant to replace it with a grand bouquet of dazzling red roses. I glanced at it only once before turning off my phone. On the 7th day after moving out of the villa, Qin's group finally faced its biggest trust crisis since its establishment. It was Monday's routine executive meeting. Usually at this time I would sit on Qin Yuchuan's right hand, helping him chart the week's cash flow plan. But today that seat was occupied by Lin Wei, the wife. Why wasn't she here for work? The conference room door was slammed open. Qin Yuchuan walked in with a grim face. His first words weren't greetings but a question directed at Li from the finance department. He's been busy these days dealing with the due diligence from Prosperity Capital, clearly overwhelmed, even forgetting how that night at the foyer I told him I wanted a divorce, or rather in his subconscious I Shenxing her, am forever just a spoiled little woman. As long as he gives me a way out, I will obediently carry the briefcase back to help him clean up the mess. Xiao Li, terrified, almost dropped the iPad in his hand, his voice trembling as he reported, Mr. Qin, Director Shen has resigned for a week already. Resigned? Who approved it? Didn't I say to let her take a leave first? Qin Yuchuan tugged at his tie in frustration. He was used to controlling everything in this conference room, but today the atmosphere was unnaturally terrifying. Yes, it was Deputy General Manager Lin. Xiao Li glanced quickly at Lin Wei, then lowered his head, his voice as faint as a mosquito's. After you promoted Miss Lin to Deputy General Manager, she immediately issued an official document, dismissed Mrs. and it was on the grounds of serious dereliction of duty, cancelling all option compensations. Qin Yuchuan reeled as if struck by lightning, turning his head to stare at Lin Wei, disbelief in his eyes. You fired her. Who gave you that authority? Dismissed the group's chief financial officer outright. Lin Wei's composure almost collapsed. She bit her lip in grievance, her voice coquettish. Yuchuan, that day you yourself told me to take full charge of personnel optimization, and Shenjie's old-fashioned management model really hindered the company's financing progress. I only wanted to help you share the burden. Help me share the burden? Qin Yuchuan sneered, furious. Do you know that the reason Shengsha Capital's funds aren't coming in is because Shenxinghe withdrew her personal joint guarantee? Do you know the tax bureau is now staring at our overseas tax refund accounts? And besides Shenxinghe, no one knows the original code of that dynamic encryption package. The conference room fell deathly silent. Qin Yuchuan suddenly seemed to remember something, and he dialed my number like crazy, but the response was only the mechanical, cold tone. Sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service. He slumped back into the swivel chair, and at that moment he realized that I, Shenxinghe, was no longer playing games of cat and mouse with him. I had truly withdrawn from his life, taking with me the business empire he had built over the years as the foundation. Mr. Qin, something's wrong. The assistant hurriedly pushed the door open. Shen Group just issued a statement announcing unilateral termination of our strategic cooperation and requesting us to settle all the equity-backed assets rents within a week. And Director Shen, no MS Shenxinghe, just appeared at the Garden Ventures' new product launch. Qin Yuchuan looked up sharply. Garden, that's our biggest competitor. MS Shen's current position is CEO and major shareholder of Garden Venture. The assistant's voice grew softer. The Parker pen in Qin Yuchuan's hand snapped in half with a crack. He watched the footage on the screen. I was dressed in a sharp, deep purple suit, standing under the spotlight, confidently and calmly introducing a brand new financial risk control system, the very system I had planned to give Qin Group as a 10th anniversary wedding gift. Lin Wei was still muttering beside him. "This is revenge. This violates the professional code. Shut up." Qin Yuchuan suddenly slammed the coffee cup on the desk, the scorching liquid splashing onto Lin Wei's expensive velvet dress. He stared fixedly at me in the video, a mix of remorse, fear and an unfamiliar estrangement in his eyes. After Garden Ventures' press conference ended, I had just stepped into the underground garage when a familiar figure blocked my path. Qin Yuchuan leaned against the car door, a half-burned cigarette between his fingers. He had never smoked in front of me before, because I had a mild allergic asthma, but now he seemed to have forgotten that. Sinking into a shadow of decadence, his suit jacket crumpled, hardly the image of a top CEO. "Xinghe, talk to me." His voice was hoarse, almost pleading in restraint. I pressed the car key. The headlights flashed, illuminating his tired face. "Mr. Qin, if it's business, please contact my secretary to arrange an appointment. If it's a private matter, I think there's nothing left for us to talk about." "Do you have to be so ruthless about it?" He sat up abruptly, his eyes bloodshot. "You pulled out of the audit, forced the suppliers to debt, even locked down the financial system you left behind. Xinghe, that was 7 years of our hard work. Can you really bear to see it ruined?" Hearing this, I found it absurdly ridiculous. I opened the car door and turned my head to look at him coldly. "Qin Yuchuan, it wasn't me who destroyed the Qin family. It was you, when you allowed Lin Wei to humiliate me in public. When you kicked out the hero for that so-called freshness and efficiency you should have expected today. What, you just realized you can't live without your old-fashioned wife now? I admit I mishandled Lin Wei's matter, so I've removed him from his post and kicked him out of the company." He eagerly tried to grab my hand, but I sidestepped. "Xinghe, as long as you come back, the vice president position can still be yours. I can add 5 more percentage points to your shares. How about we reconcile? Delayed affection is as cheap as grass." I sat in the driver's seat and rolled down the window. "Qin Yuchuan, you removed Lin Wei because you love me. It's only because he couldn't cover that 30 million hole, and he also lost Shengsha Capital's contract. What you love has always been yourself and that crumbling business empire of yours." I started the engine, the dull roar echoing in the empty garage. "Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you." I gripped the steering wheel, glancing at his rigid body. "You think Lin Wei being driven out is the end? He has those several yin-yang contracts he signed years to evade taxes with. I was the one who desperately tried to stop you from signing them, but you secretly cooked them up with him behind my back. Now that is cornered, who do you think he'll hand these things to?" Qin Yuchuan's face instantly went deathly pale, a fear emanating from his bones that nearly made him unsteady. "Xinghe, help me for the last time." I didn't let him finish another word. Stepping hard on the accelerator, the black sedan splitting the darkness like a bolt of lightning, leaving him in the dust of the rearview mirror. In the following days, the Qin Group sank deeper into the mire. Lin Wei was indeed not a light burden to bear after being violently expelled by Qin Yuchuan. He took the company's core client list and reported tax evasion by Qin's group. The tax inspection team moved into Qin's on the day I sat in the spacious and bright office of Jiada Venture Capital, reviewing the latest merger and acquisition proposals. The resources of the Shun family, the patents in my possession plus Jiada's strong funds had already allowed me to fully encircle Qin's outer supply chain. Qin's group at this moment resembled an island cut off from supplies and water, gasping for its last breath. In the afternoon, the assistant knocked and entered with a slightly peculiar expression. President Shun, the Qin Group's financial clerk Li, came by, saying there's something important to hand you. He said it's something that was left in the folded compartment of your old desk. I took the brown paper bag, opened it, and found a yellowed startup partnership agreement with the childish signatures of me and Qin Yuchuan and a line of crooked small characters. Star Mei Xinghe be brilliant, our love as firm as gold. Star. That was the day we obtained our marriage license, when we were eating at a street stall and he excitedly wrote it down. I read those words, and my heart ached faintly. but soon that pain was completely wiped away by reason. The Qin Yuchuan who was full of zeal to give me the whole world had long died in his own desires. Now, he is merely a speculator who can sacrifice his pillow partner for profit at any time. I picked up a lighter and the flame instantly devoured the paper. Notify the legal department, prepare to initiate the hostile acquisition of Qin's. I watched the ashes fall into the ashtray, my tone unusually calm. Since he can't hold on to this empire, I'll take over and clean it up thoroughly. The acquisition proceeded smoother than expected. The Qin group had long since been hollowed out by Lin Wei, and coupled with tax troubles and the Sheng family's joint siege, Qin Yuchuan's final resistance appeared powerless under the iron hooves of capital. On the day the acquisition agreement was signed, the sky was overcast, with fine cold rain drifting down. I walked into the Qin building again. The security at the had already changed faces, and upon seeing me they bowed respectfully, calling me Chairman Shen. I headed straight to the top-floor CEO office, pushed open the door and was hit by a strong smell of tobacco. Qin Yuchuan sat in the leather swivel chair that once belonged to him, the whole person as if his skeleton had been drained away. Various liquidation documents scattered on the desk along with a crumpled divorce agreement. "You're here." He looked up, a self-mocking smile playing on his lips, his voice gravelly beyond words. "Galaxy, from today on the Qin surname won't be Qin anymore, it will be Shin's or Jiada's." I walked to the floor-to-ceiling window and watched the grey landscape outside. Once upon a time, he had held my hand here, pointing to the traffic below, saying he would make me the most prestigious woman in this city. Now the scenery remained, but the hearts of people had long since decayed. "Qin Yuchuan, I never planned to beat you." I turned around, my voice cold as ice. "I'm only taking back what belongs to me. This company originally had half of me, you pushed it to others yourself. Now I'm buying it back, nothing more. Lin Wei has been sued." He suddenly blurted this, his eyes somewhat hollow. "He embezzled public funds and is suspected of industrial espionage. Before he left, he even cursed me, saying my greatest failure in this life isn't losing the company, but losing you." I didn't respond. Lin Wei's fate had already been anticipated by me. A person who uses any means to climb higher will eventually be devoured by their own greed. He thought he controlled Qin Yuchuan, but he was only a scapegoat to whom the other side outsourced responsibility, unknowingly playing with fire himself. "Galaxy." Qin Yuchuan swayed to his feet, trying to approach me, eyes flickering with the last trace of illusory hope. "If we started over from the beginning, would there still be a chance for us? I'm willing to walk away clean, as long as you give me a chance." "Qin Yuchuan, stop acting so deeply in love." I cut him off, my tone nearly cruel in its calm. "If you want to win me back, it's only because you have nothing now. If you were still the heroic Qin CEO, Lin Wei would still be your most capable deputy, and I would still be that annoying old-fashioned yellow-faced woman." I pulled out a pen from my bag and pushed it toward him. "The rest of the paperwork would be handled by the lawyers. You sign for old time's sake. I've kept you a small apartment so you won't end up on the streets." Qin Yuchuan's hand, gripping the pen, trembled as he stared fixedly at the 3 characters Shenxinghe on the divorce agreement, his last chance to associate that name with himself. In the end, he signed, looking as if he aged 10 years in that moment. As I walked out of the office, I ran into Xiao Li in the corridor, who was directing a few veteran staff to tidy the workspace. Seeing me, he paused and smiled with a sense of relief. "Chairman Shen, welcome back." I nodded. "I'll re-clean every corner here. Those temporary flashy decors will be tossed into the trash. Those smoky, corrupt systems will be abolished. I want a clean, fair battlefield where strength speaks." A month later, the Qin group formally renamed itself Xinghe Capital. On the opening ceremony day, I didn't invite any media, only shared a simple home-cooked meal with my parents. During the meal, I received a text from an unfamiliar number. "I'm at the roadside stall from that year, hoping to see you once more, just once." I casually blacklist the number. The past is like smoke. I have no time to look back. Standing on the terrace of Star Alliance Capitol building, I look up at the sky. The dark clouds disperse and the Milky Way shines brilliantly. Taking a deep breath of fresh air, an unprecedented sense of freedom surges into my heart. For these 7 years I've clung to the big tree like a vine, constantly twisting myself to help others rise. Now that the tree has fallen, I realize that I can also grow into a towering great tree, overlooking this bustling world. End of the story.